page 68 in the yellow book. Yadi Gauranga naito, tabeki hoito, kemone darito de. Yadi Gauranga naito, tabeki hoito, kemone darito de. Radharama hima, premarasa sima, Radharama hima, premarasa sima, jagate janato te, jagate janato ke, madhura brinda, bipina madhuri, pravesha chaturi sara, madhura brinda, bipina madhuri, pravesha chaturi sara. Rajarajovati, Bhavera Bhakati, Varajajovati, Bhavera Bhakati, Shakati hoito kara, Sakata hoito kara, Gaho puna puna, Gorangira guna, Sarala hoiyamana, Gaho puna puna, Gorangira guna, Sarala hoiyamana. Ebhava sagare mona dayala, Ebhava sagare mona dayala, na dekhi jayega jana, na dekhi jayega jana. Gauranga boliya, nage ugaliya, kemone dorinu de. Gauranga boliya, nage ugaliya, kemone dorinu de. Narahariya, pashanadiya, Narahariya, pashanadiya, kemone goriya che, kemone goriya che. Gauranga naito, kabeki hoito, kemone dorito de. Gauranga nahito, kabeki hoito, kemone dorito de. Jaya Gaura Hari Jaya, 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 Nadia Bihari Jaya, Gaura Hari, Satchidananda Jaya, Gaura Hari Jaya, Nadia Bihari Jaya, Gaura Hari Jaya, Satchidananda Jaya, Gaura Hari. Hari bol, 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 Hari bol. Jaya Gurudeva Jaya, 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 Prabhupada Jaya, Prabhupada Jai. So, Jadi Gauranga Nahito by Sri Narahari Sarkar. If Sri Gauranga had not appeared, then what would have become of us? How would have we survived? Could have thought the world about the glories of Srimati Radharani and the topmost limit of Prem Ras? Who would have had true insight to enter the sweet rapture of the forest of Vrinda Devi and the power to render the loving service in the mood of the damsels of Braj? With a simple heart, always sing about Gauranga's glorious qualities, I cannot see even one person as compassionate as he in this ocean of material existence. Even though I chant Gauranga, my heart has not melted. How do I continue to maintain this body? How has Narahari been created with a stone in place of a heart? Jai Hari Bol. Jai Shri Gaura-pūrṇimā ki Jai.
What's next? You're the moderator. What's next?
You're next. No, he's not the moderator.
Oh,
You're next.
I can do Jai Dwan if you need.
go ahead.
Okay. Jai Shri Guru Gauranga Dalika Giridhari Sri Radha Vinod Bihari Ji ki Jai. Nitya Prabhuswami Vishpad Astotrat Sri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Shri Gurudev ki Jai. Nitya Prabhuswami Om Vishnupad Astotrat Sri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Nitya Prabhuswami Vishpad Astotrat Sri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj ki Jai. Nitya Prabhuswami Vishpad Astotrat Sri Srimad Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Nitya Prabhuswami Vishpad Astotrat Sri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki Jai. Nitya Prabhupada Parama Bhagavad Paravar Sri Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj ki Jai. Nitya Prabhupada Sri Sachidananda Bhaktivinoda Thakur Saptam Goswami ki Jai. Nitya Prabhupada Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Sri Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki Jai. Sri Gaudiya Vedanta Acharya Sri Baladev Vidyabhusam Prabhu ki Jai. Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur ki Jai. Sri Narottam Srinivas Yamananda Prabhu Trai ki Jai. Sri Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Prabhu ki Jai. Sri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunath, Sri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Raghunath, Sri Sat Goswami Prabhu ki Jai. Sri Swarup Damodar Rai Ramanandi Gaur Prasad Vrinda ki Jai. Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur ki Jai. Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Siantar Dvip Majapur, Simanta Dvip, Godrum Dvip, Madhya Dvip, Kola Dvip, Ritu Dvip, Janu Dvip, Modadrum Dvip, Rudadvapaka Sri Navadvip Dham ki Jai. Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopa, Gopi Govardhan, Dodasavadmaka Sri Bajamandal ki Jai. Sri Radha Kunda, Shyam Kunda, Ganga Yamuna, Tulsi Bhakti Devi ki Jai. Srimati Vrinda Devi ki Jai. Sri Purnamasi Yogamaya ki Jai. Sri Gopishvara Mahadeva ki Jai. Sri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Sudarsan Chakraju ki Sri Kshetra Mandhala ki Sarva Bhikna Vilasakari Sri Singadev Bhagavan ki Bhakta Pravar Sri Prahlad Maharaj ki Charidam ki Chari Sampradaya ki Charya ki Akara Mat Rashi Chaitanya Mat ki Sri Shri Keshavaj Gaudiya Mat Aur Tat Sak Mata Samuha ki Grantara Shima Bhagavatam ki Sri Harinam Sankirtam ki Sri Navadvīpa Parikramā ki Sri Navadvīpa Dham Mahotsav ki Jai. Sri Gaura-pūrṇimā ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Samagata Bhakta Vrinda ki Nitai Gaur Pranandi Hari Hari Bol Jai.
Hari Bol. We have a moderator still?
I'm
Maybe not.
here lurking in the background, but
we have no one up front. Okay, so I'll do it. Stay in the background then, Torun, so that I know. So I'll begin, Torun. Thank you for your wonderful kirtan. That was beautiful. This beautiful bhajan describing if Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had not come, what would become of us? Very, very beautiful. So I'll begin. Gyan timirandasya gyananjala shalakaya chakshu unmilitam jena tasmai shri gurave namaha. Gurave Gaura-chandraya Radhikaya Taralaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tarabhaktaya Namo Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Shtapitam Jina Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Priya Sarupe, Daita Sarupe, Prema Sarupe, Sahajabi Rupe, Nijana Rupe, Prabhueka Rupe, Tatana Rupe, Swavilasa Rupe. Anapita Chirim Chirat Kurunai Varatino Kalo, Samarpayitam Unnata Ujvala Rasam Swabhakti Shriyam, Haripurata Sundarata Tikatam Basadipita, Sadahridare Kandare Svaratu Vasachinandanaha. Yam Prabhajantamanapetyam Apeti Dvaipaino Viraha Katara Ajuhava Putreti Tam Matayottaravo Benedustam Sarvutam Hridim Munimanatoshmi Bhaktiya Vihina Aparada Lakshay Shiptascha Karmadi Tarangamadye Kripa Maitvam Sharanam Prapana Brinde Namaste Charanarvindam Bhajami Radham Aravinda Netram Smarami Radham Madhurashmitasyam Vadami Radham Karuna Bharadram Tatoma Manastikati Nakapi Tavaivasmi Najivami Tvaivina Iti Vignaya Radhe Tvam Naimam Charanantikam. I'm first of all offering millions and millions of Dandavat pranams unto the lotus feet of my most beloved Gurudev, Nitya Lila, Pravishta Om, Asto Tarasarashi Shimad, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And I'm offering the same again millions and millions of times unto the lotus feet of our dear most Nitya Lila, Pravishta Om, Asto Tarasarashi Shimad, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and all our divine Rupanuga Guru Varg, and all the Vaishnav and Vaishnavi devotees of the Lord, my Dandavat pranams to all of you. Vansha kalpa tarubhyascha, kripa sindhuvevacha, patitanam pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo, namo namaha. So today, as we are all appreciating, is Gaura-pūrṇimā. We performed 5 days of Parikramā, traveling through Antardvīp, Simantadvīp, Godrumdvīp, Madhyadvīp, Koladvīp, Ritudvīp, Janudvīp, Modrumdvīp, and Rudradvīp. But we traveled through Rudradvīp on a different day to the last day. So we didn't completely go round the islands in order, but we covered all the 9 islands. And we heard various kathas on all the different places of Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan mission, or Sankirtan Ras, that he was distributing in the land of Navadvīpa Dham, on the banks of the Ganga principally. So today is the culmination of our Parikramā with the advent, the appearance of Sachinandan Gaurahari, of Nimai Pandit, from the womb of Sachimata and Jagannath Mishra on the eastern bank of the Ganga, not on the western bank. So this was the original home of Jagannath Mishra and Sachimata. So we've described a number of times how from his very advent, Mahaprabhu was inspiring those around him to take the holy name of the Lord. This was what he was giving. He was giving this holy name to facilitate the powerful gift that he actually had come to bestow. Without this holy name, we can't really enter into the gift that Mahaprabhu has come to distribute in this very fallen age of Kali. This Nam Sankirtan Ras, this clears the consciousness. Cheto Dapana Marjanam Bhava Mahatavagni Nivarpanam. This was the 8 principal verses that Mahaprabhu gives, describing the reasons for his advent. So today, Sripad Bhaktivedanta Vaikanas Maharaj is going to dwell more on the Leela of his appearance, taking readings from Chaitanya Bhagavat. I would like to take more on the reason, the internal reason for his appearance in this world at this time. So Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he describes in chapter 3 of Chaitanya Charitamrita the external reasons for his appearance, because it was the time for him to advent. And Advaita Acharya had been calling very enthusiastically, worshipping the Shalagram Shila with Ganga Jal, Ganga water, and Tulsi leaves, very powerfully invoking. He's Mahavishnu, Sadashiva combined together. He's both these personalities together, and principally Mahavishnu. And we've described previously how it's Mahavishnu and Shambhu who actually manifest this whole material world. So he's calling on that same Lord, ultimately Srila Narayan in Vaikuntha and Brajendranandan Shyam Sundar. But Mahaprabhu, he is Krishna himself from Goloka Vrindavan, from Gokul, and he's come for specific purpose. He hasn't just come to answer the call of Advaita Acharya. He'd already decided to advent at this time. He was going to advent in Kali Yuga. It could have been any time, but because of Advaita Acharya's loud calling, he came at this specific time, which is right now. So he advented because he had his own personal three desires. Mahaprabhu is directly Radha and Krishna combined. Radha, Krishna, Pranaya, Vikritya, Hladini, Shakti, Asmat, Ekatmana. Ekatma. It means that Radha and Krishna have become one. They are one in identity. But the principal external complexion of Mahaprabhu is Sri Radhika's golden luster, her kanti, her beautiful mood. And he's come to taste these highest extremities that the ashraya, the server of the object, the vishaya, Krishna is the subject, is the object of everyone's devotion. And we've given so many times the beautiful analogy of sugar. Everyone wants to taste sugar and they're falling down in bliss at the ecstasy of the taste of sugar. But what about sugar itself? How is sugar itself going to receive a taste? And it's understood that the taster of sugar enjoys higher bliss than the object itself. So Krishna, we've described many times, these are the teachings directly from Pinnacle of Devotion, Swami Prabhupada in Nectar Devotion. Krishna, we go from Prem to Man, Pranaya, Rag, Anurag, Bhav, and Mahabhav. These are over the boundary of the conditioned stages of the sadhak. He's journeying from Sharanagat or Shraddha to Anartha Nivritti, to Ruchi, to Bhav, and then to Prem. So now on the other side, in the transcendental realm, are these higher stages, Sneha, Man, Pranaya, Rag, Anurag, Bhav, Mahabhav. So Krishna himself has only the ability, because he's like the sugar, he only has the ability to relish the bliss of himself ultimately, that Mahabhav. But Sri Radhika, the taster of that sweetness of Krishna's qualities, she experiences two higher stages, Ruda and Adiruda. This is in capsule form the principal background for the advent of Mahaprabhu. So he has this desire to taste these higher stages of bliss that Sri Radhika experiences. This is Ruda and Adiruda. And we've described many times that Rupa Goswami has given us the understanding of what is the nature of Bhav Bhakti, what is the speciality of these Ashtasattvika Bhavs. When the spontaneous feelings, these emotions, impact the very core of this material body, the pran itself, the life air, they manifest in 8 different ways. There's 8 different ways. The stages of stunned, being blissed, and tears, ashru, and the stages of just give me that red book for a second. I'll describe it. Earth, water, fire, air, and ether are the essential elements of the body. So when these elements are impacted by the potency of prem, then they exhibit these Ashtasatvika moods. And these earth, water, fire, air, and ether, they all produce remarkable tastes. So Krishna, he can't taste that. He doesn't taste that. There's a distinction, as we've described many times, between the Ruda and Adi-Ruda stages. In the Ruda stage, 5 of these stages are blazing. This is called Sudipta. And in the Adi-Ruda stage, there are 8 blazing bhavs being experienced by the taster, the Ashraya, Sri Radhika. So Krishna, he wants to taste this. So it's described in the 6th verse of the Adi Lila chapter 1. Shri Radhaya Pranaya Mahima Kitri Shovanaiva, that Krishna wants to taste the greatness, the glories of Sri Radhika's love. The glories of her love are totally nectarian to appreciate and understand. And in this chapter, I want to describe today, I want to read from Adi Lila chapter 4, because what I'm explaining now, what I'm saying now, is all written down by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. This is our praman for understanding why Mahaprabhu has advented. He's advented to taste these 3 innermost desires of his heart: the glories of Sri Radha's love, Sri Radha Mahima, Kitri Shovanaiva, Swadhyena Buddha, Madhurima, this Adbhuta Madhurima, these astonishing sweet qualities in himself that only Radhika can taste the extremity of his sweetness because of the intensity of her love. Just like the example of a mother can see the glories of her child more than anyone because she knows her child. Her child came from her womb. She has so much affection for her child, and she can see his brilliance and qualities. So this second desire to taste this Adbhuta Madhurima, the beautiful qualities, astonishing, Adbhuta, astonishing Madhurima qualities within himself that Radhika relishes. And then the third desire, Sokyam Kasyam Mad Anubhavitam Kitrisham Vatilovat Tat Bhavadya Samajini Sakshi Garavo Sindhu Harindu. This is who is Mahaprabhu. If we ask about someone's identity and we come down to what is their core desire, then we get close to understanding that personality. When we know their core desire, what is his core? This is the core desire of Mahaprabhu. This Sokyam Kasyam. Sokyam means happiness. Sokyam Kasyam Mad Anubhavita. The happiness of Krishna's love that she receives by the sweetness of her love. She's receiving that sweetness of Krishna's love by Krishna's attraction for her. This is the third topmost inner reason for Mahaprabhu's advent. So in the 3rd chapter of this Chaitanya Charitamrita is described the external reasons, and the external reasons are the loud calling of Advaita Acharya and the gift of the holy name, which I've just described. The gift of the holy name is empowering our consciousnesses to become purified, to understand these most esoteric topics that Mahaprabhu has come. These are not easy topics to understand. We've read this Chaitanya Charitamrita for almost 50 years, and actually so many times reading it again and again and again. And each time reading it, newer and fresher realizations and appreciations of what is Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami sharing here. What is the real nature of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? And under guidance, first of all, from Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who has gifted us this Adi Lila chapter 4 initially, and then my Gurudev Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, who has illuminated the same words as Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. There's no difference whatsoever. Prabhupada has said in many instances, and it's been recorded, that Radha Dasyam is the supreme objective of the sadhak's life. And my Gurudev has accentuated this again and again and again. He's brought it up. First of all, Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada established that Krishna is that supreme personality of Godhead. Without this platform, how can we possibly go forward? So he has given us the foundation, that the absolute rock solid foundation of who is the Lord of all. And he's given us in the context mostly of Bhagavad Gita. This explains Aham Sarvasya Prabhava, Matahara Sabram Prabhadante, etc. So many verses there explaining the supreme aspect of Krishna. But my Gurudev, as we've said many times, has come to say that actually he's come to tell us that Krishna is not the supreme, that actually Shri Radhika is that controller in rasa vichar when we come to this. So I'll begin to read. Basically, I've just given a brief, very brief overview of what this chapter is going to bring out. So I'll start to read from the introduction, because again, it's saying the same thing. To understand Mahaprabhu, we have to understand these topics that I've just described, especially his three innermost desires. And these three innermost desires are described in this Adi Lila chapter 4. This is like such a powerful chapter within the whole of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. We have Adi Lila chapter 4 and we have Rai Ramananda Sangvad, which opens it out even further. But this is laying down the initial understanding and appreciation of why Mahaprabhu has come. Mahaprabhu advents today. This is Gaura-pūrṇimā. This is the 540th year after the advent of Mahaprabhu. And we're celebrating his reasons for manifesting. And Krishnadas Kaviraj, under the tutelage of Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, who spent 15 years in Puri with Swarup Damodar, who's one of the principal associates of Mahaprabhu, serving that Supreme Lord. So this is our authority. This is the fidelity of what we're actually presenting. This is nothing concocted, nothing new. If we haven't understood it, well, that's another sort of consideration. If we think that Mahaprabhu has manifested just to give Vaidhi Bhakti was already there. It had been there for thousands and millions of years, in fact. Going back through the ages, Vaidhi Bhakti has always been there. The Alvas, etc., were practicing this dharmic, sattvic vision of the Lord and his greatness. But Rajendranandan Shamsundar in Vrindavan, he's not demonstrating like that. He's demonstrating this prem. He's demonstrating his prem purushottam. He's demonstrating the speciality of his love, his loving pastimes in Vrindavan. And these are very confidential. They're confidential in the sense that they're not opened so much publicly, because the public may not understand them. And if they're not under guidance, then they can very quickly turn into what we call sahajya understanding, where the sadhak is trying to enjoy something himself. The absolute bhakti, the uttam bhakti, is described by Rupa Goswami himself. He tells us, Anyabilasita shunyam jnana karamadi anavritam anukulina krishna anushilanam bhakti uttama. What is uttam bhakti? Uttam bhakti ultimately is having no other desire in the heart whatsoever except to please the Lord. But in Raganuga Bhakti, that desire is directed towards Sri Radhika, to please Sri Radhika, who is the highest servant of the Lord. She is the highest example of love to the Lord. This, what's that? Ramya Kachit Upasana Vraja Badura Vagena Vakalpite. This is saying, Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur is saying in this verse, how does that begin? I can't remember all my verses today. not surrounded by educated people. No. Not getting it. Bhagavat, Krishna Swan. No. Right. Anyway, I'll come back to it in a minute. Find this verse for you for a minute. Excuse me. Just have to get this. Aradeyo Bhagavan Rajesha Tanayas Taddama Vrindavanam Ramya Kachit Upasana Braja Vadulu Bhagina Vakalpite. So this is accentuating the Braj Gopis. So in this first chapter, there's a very beautiful introduction. In this fourth chapter, rather, there's a very beautiful introduction here. I want to read this introduction because it encapsulates all what we've been talking about. So this is chapter 4, Adi Lila, and I'm reading by great fortune one of the original, we talked previously about the interpolation of some of the literatures of Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, but this is the authentic original copy published in 1975. So it's saying in this chapter of the epic Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has stressed that Lord Chaitanya appeared for three principal purposes of his own. The first purpose was to relish the position of Srimati Radharani, who is the prime reciprocator of transcendental love of Sri Krishna. Lord Krishna is the reservoir of transcendental loving transactions with Srimati Radharani. The subject of those loving transactions is the Lord himself. He is the subject, and Radharani is the object. He is loving Radharani. Thus, the subject, the Lord, wanted to relish the loving mellow in the position of the object. So you could actually say that in a different way, because the object ultimately is loving Krishna, and the subject of that love is actually Sri Radhika. But here it's described that she is the object and Krishna is the subject. So that's the first reason. This is what I describe about these stages of these Ashtasattvika stages, which are 8: earth, water, fire, air, and ether. Earth is described as stamba. This is what I tripped up on just previously. So stamba is being stunned. Water is ashru, tears. Fire, sveda, vaivarnya. Sky is pralaya, and air is romancha, kampa, and swabade. We sing this every single day when we chant the Guru Vastakam. We sing Mahaprabhu in the second verse is immersed in these beautiful Ashtasattvika bhavs. So this is what he wants to taste. This is why he's come. So today on this Gaura-pūrṇimā day, it's very essential for us to remember this. But just as an interjection here, I just watched tonight, this beautiful video called A Gift of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And I thought that I'd seen it in 2022 when it was first published. But this is a completely revamped edition of that same video. Many of the scenes and the footage have been taken from the original video, but this is a new edition. This is being published in 2026. So this is a special edition. Don't think that you've seen this video before, that Gift of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. If you watch it, you'll see so many other sections of the footage that they left out previously. It's very, very beautifully put together by Venugopal Das in Canada. And it expresses exactly what I'm talking about now. The whole almost 2-hour video describes exactly what I'm talking about now. There's no difference. And it all has its foundation in this 4th chapter of Adi Lila. So the second reason for his appearance was to understand the transcendental mellow of himself. He wants to understand what is it that makes Radhika fall down in the dust and roll around when she hears the bamboo trees rubbing together, make like a sound of a flute. Krishna doesn't do that. Why does Radhika go into such ecstasies when she sees a peacock feather or a peacock? Why does Radhika perform such, or she embraces a tamal tree? Krishna doesn't do anything like this. So her love is greater than Krishna's love. Her love for him is greater than Krishna's love. And this is the love that the sadhaks want to honor and worship. Someone is asking to add the link on the video. So it's that one that you published yesterday. That's the link to the video. But don't think that it's the same video that you watched 3 or 4 years ago. It's not the same video. Perhaps they should have changed the title of it or made it very clear that it's an upgrade of that 2022 video. It's a 2026 video, and it has remarkable footage that I've never seen before. So the second reason for his appearance was to understand the transcendental mellow of himself. Lord Krishna is all sweetness, like sugar. Radharani's attraction for Krishna is sublime, and to experience that attraction and understand the transcendental sweetness of himself, he accepted the mentality of Radhika, of Srimati Radharani. This is who is Mahaprabhu. This is why he's advented. The third reason that Lord Chaitanya appeared was to enjoy the bliss tasted by Radharani. This Sokyam Kasyam Mad Anubhavit. This verse and the previous one I quoted, Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikriti Hladini Shakti Asmat, have been written by Swarup Damodar Goswami, who is the supreme authority on all Shastra. No Shastra would arrive in the hands of Mahaprabhu or any book unless Swarup Damodar had checked it first. So this is Lalita Saki. She has checked this complete, and she's writing this verse about Mahaprabhu's inner desires. So it's these inner reasons which make this chapter the superior to the previous chapter. It's describing the next stage. So we can't omit this chapter 4 in any way. So Radharani felt more transcendental pleasure in the company of Krishna than he could understand without taking her position. We have to say these truths again and again and again and again. We hear them again and again and again. But each time we hear them, they take on a newer understanding and appreciation. Perhaps they go deeper into the heart, because the principle of these teachings, even though we can't reach a realization of these teachings, at least they will make some sanskar, some impression in the heart for our next birth, and perhaps our next birth and our next birth, etc. So we will set our compass for knowing what is the sadhya, what is the goal. There are so many goals described throughout the Vedas that we can attain for dharma, artha, karma, moksha, etc. These different tangents. But this speciality of Mahaprabhu has to be appreciated very significantly. It's not ordinary. He only appears once in the day of Lord Brahma, once every 8,640,000,000 years. He only appears then once, straight after Brajendranandan Shyam Sundar, to explain to us who was Brajendranandan Shyam Sundar. What sort of activities was he performing? Krishna can't taste Sri Radhika's prem for him during the Vrindavan Leela, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he can taste that prem. So it's the same, yet it's different. So Srimati Radharani was impossible because that position was completely foreign to him. Krishna is the transcendental male, and Radharani is the transcendental female, like the heat and the fire. The fire is Krishna, the origin, and the heat is the Shakti coming from the fire. Therefore, to know the transcendental pleasure of loving Krishna, loving himself, Lord Krishna himself appeared as Lord Chaitanya, accepting the emotions and bodily luster of Srimati Radharani. Lord Chaitanya appeared to fulfill these confidential desires and also to preach the special significance of chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, and to answer the call of Advaita Prabhu. These are secondary reasons. These are not primary reasons. Without the Hare Krishna mantra, and diligently chanting that mantra, we cannot begin to understand these truths. They will just be like intangible to us. They'll be like just words on a page. But if we chant significantly, sufficiently, then some of that enthusiasm, that greed, which is the symptom of Raganuga Bhakti, which is what Mahaprabhu has principally come to give. As I've said, he hasn't come to give Vaidhi Bhakti. That could have been given, that was given by Advaita Acharya. It was also directed by Nityananda Prabhu. Nityananda Prabhu can give this Raganuga Bhakti, but he doesn't. That's not his designated position. His designated position is principally to preach this cult and point everyone in the direction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Heino Nitai Binay Bhai, Radha Krishna Paitena. He's pointing in that direction. Sri Swarup Damodar Goswami was the principal figure among Lord Chaitanya's confidential devotees. The records of his diary have revealed these confidential purposes of the Lord. These revelations have been confirmed by the statements of Srila Rupa Goswami in his various prayers and poems. This chapter also specifically describes the difference between lust and love. The transactions of Krishna and Radha are completely different from material lust. This is why they're confidential. This is why they're confidential, because we are so accustomed to our lusty natures in this world to enjoy matter. The spirit, the nature of the soul is to enjoy. He has to enjoy. Anand Vyasa, that's his very essential nature. But what is he going to enjoy if he doesn't enjoy divine service? He's going to enjoy objects of this material world. And the highest object of pleasure in this material world is the union between man and woman, is this relationship. So this is material. But lust is, transcendental love is totally distinct from that. Therefore, the author has very clearly distinguished between them. So I'm going to miss a couple of verses, and then we can come straight to something more significant. So we'll start on verse 8. So in text 8 of Adi Lila chapter 4, you sing the Bengali here. To take away this burden, however, is not the work of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the maintainer. Lord Vishnu is the one who protects the universe, because previously the verse said, the scriptures proclaim that Lord Krishna previously descended to take away the burden of the earth. Now it's saying that this same Lord Krishna is not come with that purpose to take away the burden of the earth. He's come with the purpose to give something very selectively, very unique to this time. Text 9, loudly. With the time to lift the burden of the world mixed with the time for Lord Krishna's incarnation. There's a very beautiful purport here, but I'll leave this for now. You can all study this, of course, many times, but I want to come deeply into this chapter 4 if we have time today. So now verse 10. When the complete Supreme Personality of Godhead descends, complete. This means Brajendranandan Shamsundra. All other incarnations of the Lord meet together within him. Text, you have to speak much more loudly. Text 11 and 12. Go. Sabe Asha Krishna Ange Haya. Okay. So you just have to yell it out louder. So he has to have both the microphones. But he had one just now and you couldn't hear him. So what does that mean? Okay, so I think we're going to leave the Bengali for now because I actually want to get further into the text. So I'm just going to read how Sripad Vaikanis Maharaj was saying that he reads the Chaitanya Bhagavat just through in a single flow of the English. I was going to include the Bengali, but it's technically not quite possible today because I've got these earplugs in, so I can speak louder to you all. I'm just going to read the translations. At that, Lord Narayan, the four primary expansions, Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha, Matsya, and all other Leela incarnations, the Yuga avatars and the Manvantara incarnations, and as many other incarnations as there are, all descend in the body of Lord Krishna. In this way, the complete Supreme Godhead, Lord Krishna himself appears. That means Kalki appears at the beginning of this age, not at the end. In all the other 999 yugas of this day of Lord Brahma, Kalki appears at the end. But Krishna, Kalki is appearing at the beginning in the body of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as one of his incarnations. So text 13, at that time, therefore, Lord Vishnu is present in the body of Lord Krishna, and Lord Krishna kills the demons through him. Thus the killing of the demons is but secondary work. Now, I shall now speak of the main reason for the Lord's incarnations. The Lord's desire to appear was born from two reasons. This is very important to understand. Premras niryase korite aswan, ragmag bhakti loke korite prachan. Rasik Shekha Krishna Parama Karuna, E Dui Heta Hoite Ichara Udgam. These two verses together are most important. Why has the Lord appeared? He wanted to taste the sweet essence of the mellows of love of God, and he wanted to propagate devotional service to the Lord, to the world, on the platform of spontaneous attraction. Thus, he is known as supremely jubilant and as the most merciful of all. So Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada describes very beautifully through in his purport, and I'll read this purport. During the period of Krishna's appearance, the killing of asuras or non-believers such as Kamsa and Jarasandha was done by Vishnu, who was within the person of Sri Krishna. Such apparent killing by the Lord Sri Krishna was a matter of course as an incidental activity, but the real purpose of Lord Krishna's appearance was to stage a dramatic performance in his transcendental pastimes at Brajabhumi. This is Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada explaining this very, very clearly, why Mahaprabhu has advented. He's not just advented just to give the holy name. The holy name must be there to understand these topics, but there is something beyond that we have to study in this Adi Lila chapter 4. These reciprocal exchanges of mellows are called rag bhakti, or devotional service to the Lord in transcendental rapture. Lord Sri Krishna wants to make known to all the conditioned souls that he is more attracted by rag bhakti than vaidhi bhakti. Why would anyone want to practice vaidhi bhakti seriously after they've read this single sentence? Why would somebody not become inspired? What is this raganuga bhakti? How am I supposed to understand this? And in Nectar Devotion by Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, it's all there too. But to actually walk across it and not be inspired by it is unfortunate. Or devotional service under scheduled regulations. This is how Vaidhi Bhakti is described. It is said in the Vedas, Raso Vaisaha, this absolute truth is the reservoir for all kinds of reciprocal exchanges of loving sentiments. He is also causelessly merciful, and he wants to bestow upon us this privilege of rag bhakti. It's a privilege. It's a speciality that Mahaprabhu has come to bestow upon us. And to neglect that speciality means you haven't really appreciated Mahaprabhu. So this is why I'm reading this chapter today, because it's Gaura-pūrṇimā, and we want to appreciate Mahaprabhu, and we should understand what he's come to give. Rag, Mag, Bhakti, Loke. This is what he's come to give directly. These are the words of Krishnadas Kaviraj coming through Raghunath Das Goswami, coming through Swarup Damodar Goswami. This is the line. This is what he's come to give. There can't be any question about it. He also, causelessly merciful, he wants to bestow upon us this privilege of Rag Bhakti. Thus he appeared in his own internal energy. In his own internal is Radhika. He is not forced to appear by any extraneous force. These are the words of Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. All the universe is filled with conception. Is Aishwarya Janate Sabha Jagat Mishita, Aishwarya Stila Prema Nahi Mora Prita. All the universe is filled with the conception of my majesty, but love weakened by that sense of majesty does not satisfy me. We can understand the example, again, that Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada gives when he's describing Madhurya mood as opposed to Aishwarya. He gives the classic example of the High Court judge. In the courtroom, the judge has the power of life and death in his hand. He wears a royal wig, robes, etc. Everyone stands when he comes in. He's going to make the final. He's a very, very important person. But when he goes home, he's playing with his grandson like a donkey on the floor. So it's the same person, but it's a totally different mood. We have to understand, if we don't know the real distinction between Aishwarya and Madhurya, my Gurudev used to say that you haven't even really come to the Madhyam platform yet. How desirous are we to make fortune, to make progress in this very short human birth? It's a very short in Kali Yuga, maybe 100 years. Short because of so many contaminants, contaminating things in the atmosphere, etc. Any moment we can leave. And now these teachings of Mahaprabhu are being broadcast only once in the day of Lord. It's a tiny window, a tiny window. If you look at that map that we have of the Manvantaras, you see there's a tiny little window there that we have this opportunity. If one regards me as the Supreme Lord and himself as a subordinate, I do not become subservient to his love, nor can it control me. In whatever transcendental mellow my devotee worships me, I reciprocate with him. That is my nature. This is Krishna speaking in Bhagavad Gita. Yayata mam prapadyante tam stataiva pajamyaham. In whatever way my devotees surrender unto me, I reward him accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Prita. And it's saying in verse 21 and 22, if one cherishes pure loving devotion to me, thinking of me as his son, his friend, or his beloved, regarding himself as great and considering me his equal or inferior, I become subordinate to him. How could someone in a classic Vaishnava family in South India, for example, brought up with all the principles of morality and dharma, understand that to see Krishna as not being the greatest person, actually to be seeing our service to Krishna to control Krishna? Mother Yashoda doesn't think Krishna's great. She binds him. She loves him. That's why she can bind him. But she's not thinking he's the supreme personality of Godhead for half a second, even though he demonstrates this when she can't bind him. He demonstrates it when he lives Govardhan Hill. Mother Yashoda is not thinking this is the supreme personality of Godhead ever. That would completely diminish her natural affection and attraction for him. This is what Mahaprabhu has come. This was never given before, previously, even though it's in Srimad Bhagavatam. These pastimes are there in the Bhagavatam. Shukadeva Goswami is speaking these pastimes. He's speaking about Parakya Ras. But who could understand them? We described just yesterday about Jayadev Goswami. He could not understand, even though he's a great Rasik scholar and understood the pastimes to a great degree between Radha and Krishna. He couldn't accept that Krishna wanted to bow his feet at the lotus feet of Sri Radhika. He couldn't accept that. Smaragarala Kandana Mama Sirasi Mama. He couldn't accept that. He couldn't write it. Krishna had to write it himself. So all the way through, it has never been prominent until Madhavendra Puri, that seed of Bhav Bhakti, manifest to give us this gift, to prepare the soil, so to speak, for this. So Prabhupada gives a very, very beautiful commentary here, but I'm going to leave it just now because I want to go on with this. So in text 24, Krishna is saying, sometimes mother binds me as her son, sometimes she nourishes and protects me, thinking me utterly helpless. This is Braja Prem. The Brijbasis know that they have to support Krishna, but the Dwarkavasis know that Krishna is supporting them. This is the principal distinction. So we have to appreciate this significantly. Krishna says again, my friends climb on my shoulders in pure friendship, saying, what kind of a big man are you? You and I are equal. If my beloved consort reproaches me in a sulky mood, that steals my mind from the reverent hymns of the Vedas. That chastisement of man, if we hear or read from Ujjwal and Lamani, many of the gopis exhibit man with Krishna, and Krishna appreciates this more than the reverent hymns of the Vedas. So it's a process to understand these truths. Try and imagine ourselves as persons, for example, from South India, where you've grown up with a conception of Lord Narayan's greatness all the time. From childhood, you've been brought up with that conception of how great is Krishna. How are we going to purify that conception and understand that actually I can have a loving, genuine relationship without feeling that inferiority of the servitor, in the sense that I am being completely submissive to the lordship, to the majesty of Krishna? You understand? I'm sure we've all heard this before. It's very common for the devotees in this age, but still to hear it again and again is very, very helpful. So I'll read further on. The influence of Yoga Maya will inspire the gopis with the sentiment that I am their paramour. Paramour means not wedded. It means unwedded. It means that they have to break all bounded earthly morality. They have to break all dharma. They have to break these shackles. It's described in Pariyeham Niravadya Samyujam Swasadu Krityam Vibhublisadivra Yama Bhajan Durja Geha Shrinkala Sangvishchaya Tadva Satiyuta Pratiyuta Sadhana. That these gopis, they've broken all these shackles of shame, chastity, etc., to come to Krishna. This is not an ordinary conception. Think about it deeply. Where in the material world, or where in the world, do we witness anything like this? Only in the gopis. So therefore, ultimately, this chapter is going to describe the focus is clearly Gopi Bhav. What this, I said this verse before, Aradayo Bhagavad Tanaya said, Raja Vagena Ramya Kachit Upasana Braja Vaduru Vagena Kalpite. That the Braja Gopis, the Braja Devis, they hold this jewel of the purest devotion. And this is the devotion that Rupa Goswami has been inspired by Sri Radhika herself to present to the world today. So our line coming from Rupa Goswami, through all the Goswamis, through Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, through Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur especially, is coming to give us this same truth. In text 30, Krishna is saying, neither the gopis nor I shall notice this, for our minds are always absorbed, will always be entranced by one another's beauty and qualities. There's nothing else except the potency of their attraction and affection for each other. Pure attachment will unite us, even at the expense of moral and religious duties, dharma. Destiny will sometimes bring us together and sometimes separate us. So without separation, the meeting cannot be enhanced. Without separation, the speciality of the meeting isn't sufficient. And without the mood of impending separation, the union also isn't as intense. When they know that perhaps Krishna is going to go, they've experienced many times, like at the beginning of the Ras Leela, Krishna leaves. He leaves them all just completely devastated. So it increases this lobha. So ultimately, this greed is the principal ingredient of Raganuga Bhakti. This greed must be there. He says, I shall taste the essence of all these rasas, and in this way I shall favor all the devotees. Then by hearing about the pure love of the residents of Braj, devotees will worship me on the path of spontaneous love, abandoning all rituals of religiosity and fruitive activity. Exactly the same words as Srila Rupa Goswami. Tannama Rupa Charitadi Sukirtana Smitya Kramana Rasana Masijoja Tishtem Braje Anuragi Janugami, that to follow the residents of Braj is the principle, is the essence of all advice. So just moving on here. Just as this is in verse 36 and 37, just as the desires are the fundamental reason, just as these desires are the fundamental reason for Krishna's appearance, whereas destroying the demons is only an incidental necessity, so for Sri Krishna Chaitanya, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, promulgating the Dharma of the age is incidental. So Krishna's Kaviraj is describing to us what is the internal desire of Mahaprabhu. In text 41, in this way, assuming the sentiment of a devotee, he preached devotional service while practicing it himself. This is very important. Srila Gurudev used to tell us many times about the gravity and the sober nature of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was not frivolous ever. He had 2 wives who he would communicate with and his mother. And basically all other women he had no connection with whatsoever. He was the most pakka sannyasi. And his life, sleeping on the floor in the Gambhira, in a cave for 18 years, he stayed in that very tiny room. He could only sleep diagonally across the floor. He demonstrated material detachment. Material detachment means full spiritual attachment. It doesn't mean trying to demonstrate to the world how renounced we are externally. It's the internal attraction that counts always. It's the internal attraction to Radha and Krishna which will defeat our burning desires to enjoy anything in this material world. In this way, assuming the sentiment of a devotee, he preached devotional service while practicing it himself. I'm going to go through a bit more on from here and come to verse 52. Lord Krishna desired to taste the limitless nectarian mellows of the love of one of his multitude of loving damsels, Sri Radha, and so he has assumed the form of Lord Chaitanya. He has tasted that love while hiding his own dark complexion with her effulgent yellow color. May that Lord Chaitanya confer upon us his grace. So by hearing these verses, understanding these verses, our sadhya, our focus, will become fixed for our bhajan. If our focus is not fixed, our mind is all over the place. Our mind is being attracted to material desires constantly. But if we don't have our sadhya, our goal, thoroughly cemented, then we're not going to achieve it at all. To accept ecstatic love is the main reason he appeared and re-established the religious system of this age. I shall now explain that reason. Please listen. Everyone, please listen. Having first given hints about the verse describing the principal reason why the Lord appeared, now I shall manifest its full meaning. So this is the verse by Swarup Damodar that I've already quoted. Shri Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikritya Hladini Shakti Asmat. Ekatmanath. That this Krishna is one. Radha and Krishna have become one. Text 56 is saying Radha and Krishna are one and the same, but they have assumed 2 bodies. Thus they enjoy each other, tasting the mellows of love. Text 57. Now to enjoy rasa, they have appeared in one body as Lord Chaitanya. Therefore, I shall first delineate the position of Radha and Krishna. From that the glory of Chaitanya will be known. This is all a description of the glory of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which we're describing today. So text 59, Srimati Radhika is the transformation of Krishna's love. She is his internal energy called Hladini Shakti. And this Hladini Shakti is beautifully described by Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And then the Sandini and the Sangvit Shaktis are described. All Shakti, of course, is manifesting from Sri Radhika to simply bring pleasure to Krishna. This is the principal reason for Radharani manifesting everything. Then in verse 69, Sri Radha Thakurani is the embodiment of Mahabhav. She is the repository of all good qualities and the crest jewel among all the lovely consorts of Lord Krishna. Of these two gopis, Radharani and Chandravali, Srimati Radharani is superior in all respects. She is the embodiment of Mahabhav, and she surpasses all in good qualities. So now Krishna's Kaviraj is glorifying Sri Radhika, but now he becomes to glorify the Brajadevis, all the other expansions from Sri Radhika, the gopis themselves. In text 79, the Brajadevis have diverse bodily features. They are her expansions and are the instruments for expanding rasa. Without many consorts, there is not such exaltation in rasa. Therefore, there are many manifestations. Therefore, there are many manifestations of Srimati Radharani to assist in the Lord's pastimes. Among them are the various groups of consorts in Braj, who have varieties of sentiments and mellows. They help Lord Krishna taste all the sweetness of the rasa dance and other pastimes. Now this verse 82 is very important. Govinda Nandini Radha Govinda Mohini Govinda Sarvasya Sarvakanta Siromani. Radha is the one who gives pleasure to Govinda. She is also the enchantress of Govinda. She is the be-all and end-all of Govinda. She is the crest jewel of all his consorts. I was just reflecting, yes, I said previously, these topics are very elevated, but we have the most munificent guides in our lives. We have Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and we have Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, and we have all our Guru Varg, starting with Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj. With all these personalities, they are all focused and describing these topics, especially Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He writes so many of his bhajans around these topics. The transcendental Srimati Radharani is the direct counterpart of Lord Sri Krishna. Sri Krishna. She is the central figure for all the goddesses of fortune. She possesses all attractiveness to attract the all-attractive personality of Godhead. She is the primeval internal potency of the Lord. He's describing this verse. Devi Krishna Mai Prokta Radhika Paradevita Sarva Lakshmi Mai Sarva Kanti Surmani Parha. So now we'll go even further. We've got another 7 or 8 minutes. So I wanted to get to the point that Radha, this is text 96, Radha is the full power and Krishna is the possessor of full power. The two are not different, as evidenced by the revealed scriptures. They are indeed the same, just as musk and its scent are inseparable, or as fire and its heat are not different. Thus Radha and Krishna are one, yet they have taken two forms to enjoy the mellow pastimes. So now he's going to explain the 6th verse. This is the 3 intrinsic desires of Mahaprabhu, and it's describing that Swarup Damodar, that most confidential cause is threefold, is 3 desires. Swarup Damodar has revealed it. It's Swarup Damodar that is giving us this. Swarup Goswami is the most intimate associate of the Lord. He therefore knows all these topics well. The heart of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the image of Radhika's emotions. Thus feelings of pleasure and pain arise constantly therein. This is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is constantly flooded with tears, because his heart is residing in the heart of Srimati Radhika. This was his desire. So he fulfills this desire, these 3 desires, in the form of Mahaprabhu, in the realm of Puridam. And we've described how actually Puridam by itself is not superior to Navadvīpa. And we explained that at the very beginning of our Navadvīpa Parikramā. But here, I'm just struggling to reach to the very essence of Mahaprabhu's reasons for manifesting to fulfill these 3 desires. So it's saying in verse 108, just as Radhika went mad at the sight of Uddhava, so Lord Chaitanya was obsessed day and night with the madness of separation. I'm going to read this purport. Those under the shelter of the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can understand that his mode of worship of the Supreme Lord Krishna in separation is the real worship of the Lord. He himself is feeling separation from himself. When the feelings of separation become very intense, one attains the stage of meeting Sri Krishna. This is a whole other topic. So-called devotees, like the Sahajas, cheaply imagine they are meeting Krishna in Vrindavan. Such thinking may be useful, but actually meeting Krishna is possible through the attitude of separation taught by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This extremity of extreme mood of separation, lamenting, like we read in the songs of Narottam Das Thakur. Oh, when will that day be? When this Lalasamayi, when will that time come when I will be able to serve and fan the divine lotus couple? So Mahaprabhu is completely immersed in these moods, and ultimately it's going to explain these three desires are going to be explained very clearly in this 4th chapter of Adi Lila. So I've sprinkled some indication of this chapter a little bit today with an intent to understand the reasons for Mahaprabhu's advent, external reasons and internal reasons. And these are so beautifully presented by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. So he's just described the first desire, and he's saying that this is the primary cause of all rasas, is to understand the glories of Radhika's love. And in the next desire, he's saying, I am full spiritual truth and am made of full joy, but the love of Srimati Radharani drives me mad. This is the mood that Krishna is revealing. So he's revealing very beautifully in verse 128 on through about the extreme nature of Radhika's love. Sri Radhika is the highest abode of that love, and I am its only object. So here Krishna is described as the object, which I described in the beginning. Sometimes he's described as the object, sometimes the subject, but he is described as the object of love. I taste the bliss to which the object of love is entitled, but the pleasure of Radha, the abode of that love, is 10 million times greater. This is the point. If someone can be the abode of that love, only then may I taste its joy. So 10 million times greater bliss is the bliss that Radhika is experiencing. Described. Thinking in this way, Lord Krishna was curious to taste that love. His eager desire for that love increasingly blazed in his heart. That is one desire. Now please hear another. Seeing his own beauty, Lord Krishna began to ponder, my sweetness is wonderful, infinite and full. No one in the 3 worlds can find its limit. Only Radhika, by the strength of her love, tastes all the nectar of my sweetness, by the strength of her love. This is why we worship Sri Radhika. And we remember Sri Radhika today on the advent of Sachinandan Gaura-Hari. So, I mean, we don't have 2 or 3 hours to go right through the whole chapter. We've been through it previously, but I hope that this inspiration from some of the verses that I've read now will inspire the devotees to come more to this chapter of Adi Lila chapter 4 and appreciate its extreme exalted nature, to understand who is Mahaprabhu, why has he advented, what is my purpose in life as a sadhak. If I simply hear these topics and even a semblance of this greed, even a tiny, 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 tiny portion of enthusiasm comes to hear more about these topics, then my life is completely successful. But without hearing about these topics, how will that taste or that enthusiasm ever come? This was the mood of my Gurudev, even though against all odds, so many of the Gaudiya Mats were in objection to him speaking such divine truths. But my Gurudev understood if these truths are not being given, then they will be lost forever. So he gave his whole life and his reputation amongst all the different Gaudiya maths. He sacrificed that for the purity of delivering the absolute truth of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is a true lover of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because he wants to present these truths. So we should try to simply educate ourselves in our stage of sadhan bhakti. Sadhan bhakti, that rag praviti sadhan bhakti, rag praviti vaidhi bhakti. We are wanting rag, but we're performing sadhan bhakti. We are all performing vaidhi bhakti. We rise early in the morning, we follow Ekadashi, we do all the rules and regulations, etc. This is called sadhan bhakti. So we are all following sadhan bhakti, but with the vision, the focus on rag marg. And without this rag marg, our sadhya is not complete. We have that verse by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Kleshagni Shubhada Mokshaluk Hatakrit. Kleshagni Shubhada, this is like sadhana bhakti. And moksha lukhutakrit is bhav bhakti. What does moksha mean? Moksha lukhutakrit means I completely drop the idea of attaining liberation or mukti. That's a high stage, to have no desire for my own liberation in this world. Moksha lukhutakrit. And then Sandra Ananda Visheshatma, Sri Krishna Akashani Chasa. This is the stage of prem. So we have to know sadhan bhakti, bhav bhakti, prem bhakti. So this chapter in particular, Adi 4, today in particular on Gaura-pūrṇimā Day, we can be reminded of the speciality of Mahaprabhu's advent, why he advented. Prem ras niryase korite. This is the principal reason, to taste his own prem and to give rag mag bhakti loki karite prachan. This is the reason for his advent. So I've tried to very briefly race through here. Perhaps I should have done it much more slowly, but time is always a constraint. So, but anyway, we can just say to be continued. Shri Sachinandan Gaurahari ki jai, Gaura-pūrṇimā ki jai, Antakota Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol, Vanshakalpa Tarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhuvevacha, Patitanam Pavnivyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So yesterday, our dear regular MC, Tarun, was indicating that he has to be on hand for his most dear grandmother's funeral, which may be today. So he wasn't able to do the MC work. So he requested me just to pass the baton, so to speak, to our next speaker. If I think Nityananda may not be here now. So I'm hoping that Bhaktivedanta Vaikanis Maharaj is there, and he will carry on. And Tarun is there. So does Tarun want to introduce?
No need. Let's just go.
There you go. Go. He jumps up out of the blue. Great, great, Maharaj. Thank
I'm
you.
not out of the blue. I'm the gallery. I'm right next to you, trying to grab that
Okay.
baton. Maybe
Okay,
you're on,
okay. I didn't see you. I didn't see you. I didn't see you. I didn't see you.
you're
My
not looking.
mistake.
That's how,
Okay.
I
Yeah.
don't see Krishna either because I'm not looking, right? I'm just
Very
looking
good.
everywhere else, here or there.
Okay. Okay. Okay, Maharaj.
Jai,
Dandava.
thank you.
Jai.
Very, very beautiful. Very important, because in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the appearance of Mahaprabhu isn't described until the 13th chapter. And the first 12 chapters are all this foundation, philosophical foundation, that so that when we read about his appearance, we understand who he is and who his associates are, right? But in the Chaitanya Bhagavat, he comes in the second chapter, right? And I was going to read from the Chaitanya Bhagavat. Everybody has Chaitanya Charitamrita, and you can read that later, right? And I can't read the whole chapter, and there won't be time for that. But I'm going to go verse through verse through verse. And first begin by offering humble obeisance. Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitan Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaye Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha. And the Mangalacharana verses of this chapter from Chaitanya Bhagavat Jaya Jaya Mahaprabhu, Gaura Sundara, Jaya Jagannatha Putra Mahamaheshwara. All glories to Mahaprabhu, Sri Gaura Sundar. All glories to the son of Jagannath Mishra, the Lord of all lords. Jaya Nityananda Gadadhara Jivan, Jaya Jaya Advaitari Bhaktara Sharan. All glories to the life and soul of Nityananda and Gadadhar. All glories to the shelter of the devotees, headed by Advaita Prabhu. And Bhakta Goshti Sahita Gauranga Jaya Jaya, Shunile Chaitanya Kata Bhakti Labhaya Hoya. All glories to Lord Gauranga along with his associates. By hearing the topics of Sri Chaitanya, one attains devotional service to the Lord. Did you catch that? By hearing these topics, one will attain devotional service to the Lord. And then, Puna Bhakta Sange Prabhu Pare Namaskar, Spururukha Jivaya Gaura Chandra Avatar. Again, I offer my obeisance at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya and his devotees. Let the topics of Sri Gaurachandra become manifest on my tongue. That's all of our prayer. We offer obeisance to Mahaprabhu, his Panchatattva, to all the devotees, praying that this become manifest on our tongue. So before proceeding further, we also specifically offer our obeisance under the lotus feet of our beloved gurus, specifically Sri Guru Pada Padma Nityalila Pavishta Om Vishnupad Asto Tarsat Sri Simad Abhaya Charanavinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada and Sri Guru Pada Padma Nityalila Pavishta Om Vishnupad Asto Tarsat Sri Simad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj and all of our Guru Varga, all the assembled Vaishnavas, Vaishnavis. So this chapter's over 200 verses, this chapter of the appearance of Mahaprabhu, and it begins by setting the stage, so to speak, of the conditions in Navadvīpa at that time, and in fact all of India, the conception of what Krishna had come to give by his own appearance, which is described in the third and fourth chapters of Adi Lila, had been forgotten and misinterpreted and completely neglected. And the people had become very materialistic, and those who did study Srimad Bhagavatam didn't give any reference to the conception of devotion. Most were materialists, pursuing it either to imitate for their own material pleasure or as a temporary means of meditation, seeking impersonal realization, right? So I'm going to be reading from the book. I generally don't read from a book because I don't have very good setup here and I don't have enough light. So I'm kind of squinting and my head will go down time to time. If I have the book clean on the computer, it's a lot easier, but there's no Kindle version of this book. I have this kind of not very well done PDF. So I'm using the book. See? So I'm going to be looking down. So we've heard that Mahaprabhu has come for two purposes. And Chaitanya Maharaj explained the inner purpose, the purpose to experience this extraordinary love of his devotees, right? But he also wanted to display that love so that everyone can become attracted to it. What did we hear that verse yesterday? Anugrahaya bhaktanam manusim astadehina. What is it? Something Tatparo Bhavat. Anyway, I can't remember the last two lines, but it says, no, that hurts my eyes. I tried that. Yeah. Thank you. I get
one.
well, it just glares on my eyes. Yeah, it helps a little bit.
One.
One. Okay, thank you. Yashudvat Tatparo Vavet. And one who hears these pastimes, he said yesterday, must engage in devotional service, right? But as Chaitanya Maharaj was saying, there are two stages of devotional service. One is Vaidhi, where one is directed by a sense of rules and regulations. The carrot is held out, dangled in front of us, donkey-like people, but also the results of not becoming a devotee, becoming implicated in the unending wheel of samsara and the possibility of lower births and suffering in the material world. So in Vaidhi Bhakti, we're inspired somewhat by the goal, but also equally by guilt, fear, and other, there's Pravriti Marg and Nivriti Marg, those things you should do and those things you don't do because of the repercussions, right? So Yashudvat Tatparo Vavet means, if you're in Vaidhi Bhakti, all these are considerations. But what he was introducing was the higher conception, which Srila Prabhupada also produced in his Nectar of Devotion, which is spontaneous devotion, where one, just by hearing about these pastimes, an internal greed awakens, right? Just a spontaneous attraction. And this can be tasted even in the very beginning of bhakti. Otherwise, how is it that people in the Kali Yuga are continuing to chant Harinam even before we have Shuddhanam, even before we have the real taste of real bhakti? Somehow or other, the beauty of the idea of devotion to Krishna, of love for Krishna, the beauty of being involved in Mahaprabhu's pastimes, it attracts us. That seed is stimulated in the heart, right? And so Mahaprabhu came to deliver the universe, but he also came to taste. But by that process of tasting and by his internal experiences and the pastimes that he displayed, he's awakening an attraction for that in our hearts as well. And those who follow him, those great devotees, he's offering obeisance to the devotees, they're living that same life. And that's why it's so important that we have and seek out the opportunity to associate with such persons, because automatically in their company, we also become inspired. We want to be like them. So Yashudvat Tatparo Bhavet means also those who come to spontaneous devotion, just by hearing about these pastimes, they also must. But their must do is motivated by a spontaneous greed, this overwhelming love. Tatra lolyam api mulyam ekalam, the only thing that will bring us to that highest platform. So that's why he was reading chapter 4, right? And hopefully, hearing all these things all through the course of the year, we'll go deep into Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's so important. I remember when I was a new devotee, and I picked up Nectar of Devotion. This was in the first few months, right? And very early on reading it, I heard about spontaneous devotion, that this is a platform that we want to come to. And I'm reading, I said, wow, spontaneous. I didn't understand it at all. I just understood that, yes, spontaneous means, it'll just happen, spontaneously. Not because somebody's telling me, not because this rule or regulation. And I began to talk about it to others. And I remember I had one godbrother, Matiladish. We had driven down to New Vrindavan to drop off Harikesh Prabhu to join Radha Damodar party. And I picked up Padmanabha Maharaj, Urakram, to bring him back. We stopped at Philadelphia Temple where Matiladish was, and I was talking all about it. And Matiladish spoke about that years and years later. But when I tried to talk about it to older devotees, they just poo-pooed it. What is this? Don't worry about it. And I kind of forgot about it for years and years and years. But as Chaitanya Maharaj said, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj pointed that out to us. Even though it's everywhere in Srila Prabhupada's literature, it has to be awakened and pointed out by a Mahabhagavat, who will give us further inspiration of the importance and beauty of this stage. So now Mahaprabhu this chapter is going to describe about the unhappiness of the devotees in the current state of Navadvīpa, overwhelmed by atheism and impersonalism, right? And materialism. And then those devotees wanting the Lord to appear. So text 48 says, Sri Chaitanya descended to deliver the entire universe. He's confirmed this with his own words, of course, and we heard those. The Lord had his devotees, who are equal to him, appear at impious places and in impious families to deliver everyone. It's going to go on to explain that they appeared all over India, not just where he was. They gathered later when he came, right? And even more when he began to manifest these devotional pastimes. But he says, in whatever place or family a Vaishnava appears, people for hundreds of thousands of miles around are all delivered. The importance of his devotees, and therefore the importance for us. Never forget that our path to devotion is also honoring and serving these associates of Mahaprabhu. Never neglect them, never criticize them, never insult them. Therefore, Sri Chaitanya had his devotees appear in all different countries. And by that he means all the different states that were in India at that time. India wasn't a unified state. All these different states were different countries, right? And outside of Bengal to the west, that was considered the Western world, right? Of course, there's further west, but that's not what they generally talk about. So most of the devotees gathered in Navadvīpa, it's said. And so Navadvīpa became very, very prosperous, right? And then he describes the state of Navadvīpa. I'm not going to get into that so much, but what we had just referred to, the atheism, the great scholarship, but misdirected scholarship. So then we skip ahead to about verse 74, and the devotees, seeing all this, are thinking, how will these people be delivered? The whole world is simply absorbed in material enjoyment. People will not chant the names of Krishna, even if they are instructed. Rather, they constantly glorify their education and good birth. Years ago, Srila Prabhupada said the same thing. And he made a joke about a cartoon that was in a famous magazine, The New Yorker. By this time, even within a few years, the Hare Krishna movement became a little iconic. And there was a cartoon of an old man and an old woman. And the old lady saying, Srila Prabhupada says, chant, chant, chant. And the man says, can't, can't, can't. Of course he could. He's almost saying chant, 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 but they want to misdirect their energies in other directions. Chanting is so easy, so sweet, so lovely. And Mahaprabhu, by showing his pastimes of ecstasy and describing in these literatures what is actually going on, is giving us a deep reason that we should also chant. Why would we not want to? Right? Unless we're completely opposed to the Lord. But even with that, people will not chant the names of Krishna, even if they are instructed. Rather, they constantly glorify their education and good birth. The great devotees, however, followed their prescribed duties, like worshiping Krishna, bathing in the Ganga, and discussing topics of Krishna. So when he says prescribed duties, he's not just talking about varnashram. He's talking about Jaiva Dharma, right? The Sanatan Dharma, the eternal occupation, Nitya Dharma. Right? So they all bestowed their blessings on the people of the world and prayed, O Krishna Chandra, please quickly bestow mercy on these people. That's what's going on. Now, residing in Navadvīpa at that time was Advaita Acharya, the topmost Vaishnava who is glorified throughout the world. We heard about Advaita Tattva earlier, his appearance day, when you're hearing about Lord Shiva. He is also Sadashiv, is also Mahavishnu. He has the specific role as a maintainer, an overseer, protector of the universe. Sri Advaita Acharya was the most respected teacher. He was as expert as Lord Shiva in explaining the devotional service of Lord Krishna with knowledge and renunciation. One thing I want to encourage people, if you have a chance to acquire this particular version of Chaitanya Bhagavat, because the purports of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati are in here. They're so profound. There's so much deeper or meaning of these verses is revealed. And furthermore, it reinforces the conceptions that our Srila Prabhupada presented and Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj presented. They're all in here. We are from the tree of Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada. And it's so wonderful to read his conceptions. So, Advaita Acharya explained all the scriptures that are found in the three worlds and concluded that devotional service to the lotus feet of Krishna is the essence of all teachings. And Sri Advaita Acharya would enthusiastically worship Krishna with Tulsi Manjaris and Ganga water. He loudly called for Krishna in great spiritual ecstasy. That sound vibration pierced the coverings of the universe and was heard in the Vaikuntha planets. This is also described in Chaitanya Charitamrita, that Advaita Acharya, seeing the plight of the people in this world, said, oh, the Lord himself, he must come, even though he's so powerful. And obviously, as Mahavishnu, he could do so much. But in this age, because Krishna had appeared, that very rare prem that Krishna wanted to taste and give to the world, it was a time for that as well. And what's that prem? It's the prem that the associates of Srimati Radhika experience. Love for her, and under her guidance, the love and joy of service to Krishna through Srimati Radhika. Unnata Ujjvala Rasam Swabhakti Sriyam. Swabhakti is Radhika's own special bhakti. Sriyam is the service of Sri Rupa Goswami, Rupa Manjari, revealed through his form as Rupa Goswami and available to the followers of the Rupanugas in this age. Srila Prabhupada said, we are Rupanugas. This is what he wanted us to understand. Now, so Advaita Acharya is calling, oh, you appeared just some 4,000 years ago. Now look at the plight of the world. Please come and give what you wanted to reveal to them in those pastimes. Only you can do that. And that's also spoken in that 4th chapter. He didn't get that far, but you should all read that 4th chapter. Very amazing. So on hearing Advaita Prabhu's cries of love, Lord Krishna personally appeared, for he is controlled by the love of his devotees. As Krishna is controlled by his devotees, Mahaprabhu controlled by his devotees. They're non-different. That principle exists. Therefore, Advaita Acharya is the best of all the Vaishnavas. There is no comparison to his devotional service in the entire universe, because he brought the Lord. When Mahaprabhu shows his 21 hours of ecstasy and showing his different forms, he calls Advaita and gives him all credit. By your loud cries, my throne in Vaikuntha was shaken and I had to come. Here I am. What do you think now? So in this way, Advaita Acharya resided in Nadia in great distress due to the people's lack of devotion. Everyone in the world, in the entire world, was engaged in materialistic activities. No one was engaged in worshiping or serving Krishna. Some people worshipped Vashuli, that's Durga, with various ingredients, and some people worshipped the yakshas with meat and wine. So Saraswati Prabhupada in his purport goes into more detail. They were so crazy and so deluded, they were even arranging marriages between cats and dogs. Some bizarre ritual. Where they got that from, who could say? But their intelligence was so misdirected, right? Misguided, right? People would constantly dance, sing, and play musical instruments in a great commotion, but they never heard the supremely auspicious names of Krishna. Isn't that what's going on today as well? Crazy, crazy music displays, so degraded, dog dancing. Oh, the world. The devotees headed by Advaitacharya were distressed upon seeing the people engaged in so-called auspicious activities not related to Krishna. By nature, the heart of Advaitacharya was full of compassion, so he mercifully contemplated how to deliver the living entities. So he said, if my Lord descends, my Lord, so much attachment, then all these fallen souls would be delivered. My name, Advaita Simha, Simha means lion, right, will be justified when I cause the descent of the beloved Lord of Vaikuntha. This is considered to be the main cause. Mahaprabhu could have appeared at any time in the Kali Yuga. Generally, Yuga Avatar appears towards the very end, but by the loud cries of Advaita, this is why he appeared at that time. And of course, by those cries, also the Lord making arrangements, and that's described in Chaitanya Charitamrita and earlier here. Just when Krishna appeared, he ordered his associates and all the demigods to appear in Vrindavan and nearby to partake in his pastimes. So similarly with Mahaprabhu, with the speciality that they'll also go to other parts away from him so that these other places can also be purified. So, I will make the Lord of Vaikuntha appear in this world, and we will dance, chant, and thus deliver all fallen living entities. That is the means of deliverance. That's why Srila Prabhupada's movement took off like it did, because every day devotees were out dancing and chanting, right? I'm seeing all the pictures of people who are here. I'm looking at my godbrother Mahabhuti. There's a very famous video of our godbrother Vishnu John Swami chanting at Rath Yatra. And the devotees are going crazy all around him. And Mahi Bharat there, people in New Braj know him, so many others that we know. But Mahabhuti's also there, looking very fierce and energetic, just chanting in ecstasy these holy names of the Lord. And it's so powerful because who were we? We were rogues ourselves. We were the lowest of people, right? Proud of whatever meager, insignificant talents that we had. But the power of that chanting and the association of devotees attracted us. And then the power of that Sankirtan infused us with this energy. So that is the process. He's saying, we will dance, chant, and thus deliver all fallen entities. So when devotees worldwide begin to take that up again to the same degree, then we will see that same kind of surge. With this determination, Advaitacharya constantly served the lotus feet of Sri Krishna Chandra with a fixed mind. Lord Chaitanya repeatedly confirmed that he incarnated due to the desire of Advaita Prabhu. Srivas Pandit resided in Navadvīpa. Lord Chaitanya enjoyed many pastimes in his house. We heard some of them. Srivas Pandit and his three brothers continuously chanted the names of Krishna. They would take bath daily in the Ganga and then worship Lord Krishna. Many other devotees lived incognito in Nadia. That means, disguised, unknown, right? By the will of the Lord, Sri Chandrasekhar, Jagadish, Gopinath, Sriman Pandit, Murari Gupta, Sri Garuda Pandit, and Gangadas all took birth before the Lord. If I listed the names of all the devotees, this book would increase in size. So I will mention these names that I know at the appropriate time. All these devotees were engaged in their prescribed duties. They were all magnanimous, and they knew nothing other than the devotional service of Lord Krishna. They all had friendly relationships with one another, although they were unaware of one another's identity. which means that they're eternal associates of the Lord. They have relationships with Krishna in Krishna Lila, with Ram and Ram Lila, with all the different forms of the Lord. But Yogamaya covers all that. That's one of the really sweet elements of this pastimes in Navadvīpa. They all have great love for Mahaprabhu when he comes, Nimai, and for each other, but they don't know the background, right? The history. The hearts of these devotees burned on seeing the people of the world devoid of devotion to Lord Krishna. Because they could not find anyone interested in hearing topics of Lord Krishna, they would engage in kirtan by themselves. They would remain together for a couple of hours in the house of Advaita Prabhu and mitigate their distress with the topics of Krishna. Just what we do, right? The devotees felt the entire world was burning, and they felt sorry because they could not find anyone to speak with. We always want association of devotees. Then we're happy. Sri Advaita Acharya, along with the other Vaishnavas, tried to preach to the people, but the people could not understand anything. Right? In distress, Advaita Acharya began to fast, and the Vaishnavas sighed deeply. People did not know why the devotees danced for Krishna or chanted his names. They could not understand who was a Vaishnava or what purpose that Sankirtan was. Right? People could not understand any of these things because their hearts were filled with desire for wealth and children. All the atheists were laugh at the Vaishnavas. We all have that experience chanting. People just surround us and just be bewildered. What are you doing? Why are you doing that? We try to preach to them, don't eat meat. Well, what are you going to eat? You don't eat meat. What are you going to eat? Right? Don't have sex. What? Impossible. They couldn't understand anything about the devotees. They thought we were like from the moon or something. Every evening, Srivas Pandit and his three brothers would loudly chant the names of Hari in their house. On hearing this chanting, the atheists would remark, "What madness! This Brahmana Srivas will ruin this village. The Muslim king is very cruel by nature. If he hears about this kirtan, the whole district will suffer." Right? Remember when he did hear about it? Threatened everybody? We heard about that pastime. Someone else said, "I will drive this Brahmana out of town. I will break his house and throw it in the Ganga. If we get rid of this Brahmana, then it will be good for the village. Otherwise, the Yavanas will take over the town. They'll drive us out." Hearing the atheist speak in this way, the devotees began to cry and chant Krishna's name, their only shelter. When Advaita Acharya heard these things, he became as angry as fire. Who else is Advaita Acharya? He's Sadashiv and Mahavishnu. He's responsible for burning the universe to ashes at the end, the Mahapralaya. Neglecting whether he was dressed properly, he spoke to all the Vaishnavas. "Listen, Srivas, Gangadas, and Shuklambar, I will make Krishna descend for all to see. He will personally come and deliver one and all by preaching devotional service with your help. If I fail to do this, then I will manifest 4 arms and take up my disc. I will sever the heads of all these atheists, and then it will be confirmed that Krishna is my Lord and I am his servant." Even Advaita has that mood. The great Mahavishnu himself. I am a servant of Lord Chaitanya. I am a servant. He's also tasting the joy of that mood. In this way, Sri Advaita Acharya constantly worshipped the lotus feet of Krishna with great determination. The other devotees also shed tears as they all constantly worshipped Krishna with fixed determination. As the devotees wandered through Navadvīpa, they never heard any topics concerning devotional service. Seeing the people's pathetic condition, some of the devotees wanted to give up their bodies, while others sighed deeply as they called out the name of Krishna and cried. The devotees became so unhappy by seeing people's behavior that they lost desire to eat. Why are they crying? Are they crying for their own situation? No. They're atmaram in the sense that they're happy in their own devotion, in their own chanting. They're sorry for the condition of the fallen souls. That this quality of karuna, of compassion, it's overwhelming them, and they don't know what to do. How will these people be delivered? As the devotees gave up all material comforts, the Supreme Lord prepared to advent. By the order of the Lord, Sri Nityananda Ram, who is non-different from Ananta, first appeared in Radhadesh. He appeared from the womb of Padmavati in the village of Ekachakra on the auspicious 13th day of the waxing moon in the month of Magh. That Lord, the original father of everyone, accepted Hadai Pandit, the king of the Brahmanas, as his father. Later, there are very beautiful descriptions of Nityananda Prabhu's birth and his pastimes. Nityananda Prabhu, the guru of Vrindavan Das Thakur, the author of this book. So, Lord Balaram is an ocean of mercy and the bestower of devotional service. He appeared as Nityananda Prabhu, Akhanda Guru Tattva. Guru comes, and also as Baladev, the predominating personality of Sandhini Shakti, of the very Dham itself, come to establish the appropriate conditions for the Lord to appear. Invisible to humans, the demigods loudly chanted, Jai, Jai, and showered flowers. From that day on, the district of Radhadesh became filled with prosperity. To deliver the fallen souls, Nityananda Prabhu accepted the dress of a mendicant and traveled throughout the world. The world means India. He's all over India. This is the description of Lord Ananta's appearance. Now please hear how Krishna made his appearance. Sri Jagannath Mishra lived in Navadvīpa. He was just like Vasudeva, and he was expert in following his prescribed duties. He was greatly magnanimous and the best of the Brahmanas. Indeed, I can find no comparison to him. If you read about the qualities of Nanda Maharaj, also his history, similarly, he was the most beloved, even not the oldest son, but of all the sons of their father, everybody loved him the most. And just like his father was beloved by all of their relatives in Mathura and elsewhere, Nanda Maharaj similarly, and so they very happily made him like a king in Vrindavan. And Jagannath Mishra, in this town of scholars, was regarded in the most respected way by all the Brahmanas, right? All the good qualities of Kashyap, Dasharath, Vasudeva, and Nanda Maharaj were found in the person of Jagannath Mishra. These are all the different forms that Nanda Maharaj, who is Jagannath Mishra, takes as the father of Krishna. His wife was the most chaste Shachi Devi, the universal mother and personification of devotional service to the Supreme Lord. So she, just like Mother Jashoda, you read again about Mother Jashoda's Abhira, high-class birth, right? More than a Brahmana, right? The most exalted Brahmana birth. In Vrindavan, she appears as a Vaishya, but in her Vaishya lineage, it's all mixed with Brahmins as well, so that they remain by caste Vaishyas, but by quality, they have all the qualities of Brahmins, great Brahmins. So, after all Shachi's daughters expired, she had 8 daughters, and they left very quickly. The most fortunate Vishwarup appeared as her son. Sri Vishwarup was as attractive as Cupid personified. His mother and father were jubilant upon seeing him. He is expansion of Nityananda Prabhu. Right? Vishwarup was detached from the time of his birth, and he realized the purport of the scriptures in his very childhood. From the very beginning, he was so learned. Student of Advaita. As the entire world became devoid of devotion to Lord Vishnu, the future symptoms of Kali began to manifest in the beginning of the age. The sinful activities predicted for the age of Kali became prominent in the beginning of the age, and the whole world became devoid of the worship of Lord Vishnu. And then he quotes a Bengali verse, which is similar to Bhagavad Gita. Whenever there is a decline in the practice of religious principles, the Lord incarnates. The word is Dharma Tirubhava Hoile. Tirubhava means disappearance, right? There is a decline. Whenever there is a decline in the practice of religious principles, the Lord incarnates. Knowing that the devotees were in distress, Lord Gaurachandra Mahaprabhu appeared in the bodies of Jagannath Mishra and Shachi Devi. As Sri Ananta loudly chanted, Jaya Jaya, Jagannath Mishra and Shachi Devi heard this sound vibration as if in a dream. Both husband and wife manifested a brilliant spiritual effulgence, which common people could not perceive. This is also the nature of Mahaprabhu. To those who had eyes of devotion, he would appear in that golden effulgent form, but to others, he may have appeared more ordinary, unless he specifically showed it, like he did with Prakasananda Saraswati Prabhupada. Not Prabhupada, Prakasananda Saraswati. I used to the Prabhupada after Saraswati. No, Prakasananda Saraswati. So they had this brilliant effulgence, just like Devaki, right? That's how Kamsa knew, oh, now that boy is in her womb. Knowing that the Supreme Lord would appear, personalities like Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva came to offer prayers. They came to their house. Right? These topics are the highest confidential truth of the Vedas. Of this, there is no doubt. Now, please hear with devotion the prayers offered by the demigods, headed by Brahma. Hearing these prayers, one's mind becomes attached to Krishna. I'm just going to read a few of the prayers because we have many more verses. I want to make sure we get them. But they start off, Jaya Jaya Mahaprabhu, Janaka Sabara, Jaya Jaya Sankirtana Hetu Avatar. All glories to Sriman Mahaprabhu, the Father of all living entities. All glories to the Supreme Lord who has incarnated to inaugurate the Sankirtan movement. All glories to the protector of Vedic principles, saintly persons, and the Brahmanas. All glories to the personalities, to the personification of time, which destroys the non-devotees. Okay. So there are many, many different verses. And in one, he says, who can understand the cause of your appearance other than you yourself? By your order, each one of your servants can deliver innumerable universes. Still, you incarnate yourself to teach religious principles to all, and thus to make the earth glorious. And they talk about his different incarnations, Satyuga, Dwapara Yuga. And then, therefore you are the source of innumerable incarnations. Who has the ability to enumerate all of them? And then they describe many of the different Matsya, Hayagriva, Vaman, Lord Ram, Buddha, Dhanvantari, then Narad, who's like a Chaktivesh, and then Krishna, right? In the form of Krishna, your unlimited enchanting Gokul pastimes include all those other incarnations. In this incarnation as a devotee, you will invest all your transcendental energies in the performance of kirtan. again, that message. Remember yesterday we're hearing, was it yesterday, Mahaprabhu telling his mother and the devotees that don't think that I am ever separated from you. I have incarnated in this age, for the whole age, in the form of my holy name and my deity form. Wherever my name is chanted, I am there. Right? Nam namakari bahudani sarva shaktis, right? You've invested all your power in your holy name. The whole world will be filled with the sound of Sankirtan, and pure devotional service will be preached in every home. This is predicted by the demigods, Brahma, Shiva, before the appearance of Sachinandan Gaurahari, right? And repeated beautifully in subsequent generations after the appearance of Mahaprabhu, Bhaktivinoda Thakur describing how that Sankirtan is going to unfold in future generations. How can we describe the happiness that this earth planet will enjoy when you dance along with your servants? As such persons dance, the touch of their lotus feet destroys all the inauspiciousness of the world. By their glance, the 10 directions are purified. So that dancing anybody can do. And anybody who does it under the direction of a Mahabhagavad is infused with that same transcendental potency. It's not our potency, but they are implanting it. So they go on and offer many prayers. You easily award liberation, but you keep devotional service hidden. We have a desire to attain that devotional service. Unnata Ujjvala Rasam Svabhakti Sriyam, that most rare, most illuminated service, this special prem, the prem of Krishna's devotees. That's what we want. You who have now appeared in Navadvīpa, because now he's in the womb, you've appeared, are the Supreme Lord, whose holy names bestow the results of all sacrifices. O Lord, please be merciful to us so that we may have the fortune to see your pastimes. Why are we reading these? We want these prayers to be our prayers, right? On this day especially, think like this. O Lord, this is your prayer. Now, this is in your heart. O Lord, please be merciful so that we may have the fortune to see your pastimes. The long-cherished desire of the Ganga will now be fulfilled when you sport in her waters. You who are seen through the yogi's meditation as Yogeshwara will now be seen in the village of Navadvīpa. We therefore offer our respectful obeisance to Sri Navadvīpa, where the Lord appeared in the house of Shachidev and Jagannath. So many devotees are there right now. Oh, what fortune to be in Navadvīpa Dham. But we can be there by meditating on Navadvīpa Dham. Great benefit is bestowed in the heart of the devotee, right? And if we're not there, what does that mean? It's a kind of separation. And if we think in an eager way, I want to be there, let me go next time, very powerful. In this way, the demigods headed by Lord Brahma would daily offer prayers in seclusion. The Lord, who is the shelter of all universes, remained in the womb of Shachi Devi until Gaura-pūrṇimā gradually approached. That's today. All the auspicious symptoms present throughout unlimited universes appear together on that full moon night. Thus, the Lord simultaneously appeared along with the congregational chanting of the holy names, which he inaugurated on the pretext of a lunar eclipse. And interestingly enough, in Navadvīpa, which was last night for them, full lunar eclipse, very rare, very rare. And in the West, also full lunar eclipse, but it happened, early this morning while the moon was still up. And just at the time of about an hour before it was fully lunar eclipsed, we couldn't see it because there was cloud cover. And then the moon set during the time when it was fully eclipsed. But in Navadvīpa, fully eclipsed. And so in India, what happens? Everybody chants, even the atheists, because the chanting of the holy names is supposed to remove the inauspicious elements of a lunar eclipse. So the Lord got everybody to chant on his appearance. Thus, the Lord simultaneously appeared along with the congregational chanting of the holy names, which he inaugurated on the pretext of a lunar eclipse. Who has the power to understand the activities of the Lord? By his desire, Rahu covered the moon. Perhaps this is a pretext, foreshadowing of another upliftment in the Sankirtan movement. Because everybody in India, so many people, they have given up their culture, but some things remain. So an unnatural number of people may have been engaged in chanting the holy names of the Lord in India yesterday. Right? When the inhabitants of Navadvīpa saw the eclipse, they began to chant the auspicious names of Hari. Millions of people went to take bath in the Ganga while chanting Hari Bol, Hari Bol. The whole of Nadia was filled with the sound vibration of the name of Hari. Indeed, the sound vibration filled the entire universe and beyond. Hearing this wonderful vibration, all the devotees remarked, "Let there be a perpetual eclipse." All the devotees said, "From the great happiness that we are feeling today, it can be understood that Krishna must have appeared." They don't know where, but he must have appeared. They don't know yet that it's a Jagannath Mishra and Shachi Devi that he appeared. As the devotees all went to take bath in the Ganga, the vibration of the name of Hari was continuously heard from all directions. Whether one was young, old, pious, or impious, everyone was engaged in chanting the name of Hari while observing the eclipse. All one could hear was Haribol, Haribol, Haribol. That's the names of Lord Hari was heard throughout the entire universe. The demigods showered flowers on all directions, and they played kettle drums as they chanted, Jai, Jai, Jai. At that very moment, the life of all living entities, Sri Satchinandan made his appearance. When the moon was covered by Rahu, when the ocean of the holy names was manifest, when Kali was subdued, and when the flag of victory was raised, at that time the Supreme Lord appeared, and the 14 worlds filled with the sound, Jai, 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 Jai. Dekite Gauranga Chandra, Nadayara Loka, Shokasaba Nasala, Dine Dine Badala Ananda. The happiness of the people of Nadia daily increased, and their lamentation was vanquished as they saw the moon-like Lord Gauranga. Kettle drums were sounded, hundreds of conch shells were blown, and flutes and horns were played. In this way, Vrindavan Das Thakur sings the glories of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sri Nityananda Prabhu. The Lord's beautiful bodily features cannot be perceived, for they outshine the rays of the sun. His broad eyes, which are upturned at the ends, have no comparison. Upon the appearance of Sri Gauranga in this world, the sound vibration of Hari's name spread throughout the universe up to Brahmalok. The Lord's broad chest is smeared with bright sandalwood pulp and decorated with flower garlands. The Lord's sweet face is as soothing as the full moon, and his long arms extended to his knees. Sri Chaitanya is the crown on the head of the four Vedas, but sinful and foolish people cannot understand this. Sri Vrindavan Das Thakur sings the glories of Sri Chaitanya Chandra and Sri Nityananda Prabhu. Who could imagine what kind of ecstasy Vrindavan Das Thakur is experiencing compiling these verses in his deep and pure meditation on this Leela? Empowered meditation gifted by his guru, Sri Nityananda Prabhu. So and he's giving to us, he's giving it to us. As Sri Gaurachandra appeared, the 10 directions appeared filled with bliss. The Lord's beauty defeats that of millions of cupids. He laughs upon hearing the sound of the holy names chanted. The Lord's face and eyes are most sweet, and his body is decorated with the signs of a king. His lotus feet are marked with a flag and a thunderbolt. All his limbs attract the minds of all people. By his advent, all danger is vanquished and all prosperity is manifested. Accepting Sri Chaitanya and Nityananda Prabhu as my life and soul, I, Vrindavan Das, sing the glories of their lotus feet. He's saying this over and over in the midst of this chapter. Generally, he ends each chapter with this, but his ecstasy can't be contained. And it just, oh, glories to Lord Chaitanya. Oh, glories to Nityananda Prabhu, my life and soul. I sing the glories of their lotus feet. Today we should try all day long. Sing the glories. Read this chapter 13 of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Different details. Some stuff the same, but spoken in a different way. Very beautiful. Very beautiful. Hearing that Lord Chaitanya has incarnated, all the demigods became overjoyed. They are overwhelmed with ecstasy on seeing the Lord's face, which destroys all misery. Ananta, Brahma, Shiva, and other demigods accept the form of human beings and chant Hari, Hari on the pretext of the eclipse. No one, however, can recognize them. They all gather at the house of Jagannath Mishra. Huge crowds from Navadvīpa, all their well-wishers and friends, and amongst them the demigods also. They want a direct personal glimpse. The people of Nadia run in 10 directions while loudly chanting, Hari, Hari! The demigods and human beings mix together, and the whole of Navadvīpa is filled with ecstasy. This is not any exaggeration. This is this infusion, this gift of the Lord into the heart of all these personalities. Friend and foe alike, all are experiencing ecstasy. The whole planet is being transformed during this time. All the demigods came to the courtyard of Shachi Devi and offered their obeisance. Because of the darkness created by the eclipse, no one can recognize them. Such are the mysterious pastimes of Sri Chaitanya. Some demigods offer prayers, someone holds an umbrella, other waves a chamara, some happily shower flowers, others dance, and some play musical instruments. Lord Gaura-Hari descended along with his devotees, but the atheists did not understand a thing. Accepting Sri Chaitanya and Nityananda Prabhu as my life and soul, I, Vrindavan Das, sing the glories of their lotus feet. It's all going on. Everybody's caught up. It's a celebration, but the atheists, they don't really know what's happening. The demigods play kettle drums and ding-dima drums, chant the auspicious sound of Jai, and sing in sweet melodies. The demigods think, today we will see the Lord, who is unknown through the Vedas. Therefore, let us not waste time. Unknown, he is, the Gupta avatar, hidden in the Vedas. But once you are shown that and know his pastimes, it's so obvious. Krishnavarnam Trisha Krishnam, Sango Pangashta Parshanam, Jagnai Sankirtana Prayar, Yajantihi Sumeda Saha, and other verses as well. The word, being overjoyed on the birth of the Lord of Nadia, the demigods repeatedly embrace and kiss one another without reservation or consideration of whether one is a friend or a stranger. In the joyous condition, they come to Navadvīpa and hear the sound vibration of Hari's names from all sides. There they taste Gaura's ecstatic emotions and become overwhelmed as they sing his glories. They descend from their heavenly planets to come to this earthly place, because it's only here can this be tasted and seen in this highest way. They're lining up. Many of them take birth to be in this Leela. There in Shachi's house, they see the beautiful form of Lord Gauranga, who resembles millions of moons combined together in the guise of human beings, and on the pretext of the eclipse, they all loudly chant the name of Hari. Sri Gaurachandra appears along with his energies, but the atheists cannot understand a thing. Accepting Sri Chaitanya and Nityananda Prabhu as my life and soul, I, Vrindavan Das, sing the glories of their lotus feet. So, Premadana Ratana Pasara Deka Gaurachandra Bhajara. Behold Gaurachandra's marketplace, where the jewels of love of God are stacked high. In this way, Lord Gauranga appeared by first inaugurating the Sankirtan movement from all directions. This is the very beginning of the next chapter. I guess we don't really have time. I'm going to read a little bit of it anyway, because Chaitanya Maharaj went a little over time, and so I'm going to go a little over because he took away this. This is some really sweet descriptions, by the way. So this is part of it, right? Now he's appeared, right? From all directions, people went to the Ganga for bath while chanting the names of Hari. Even persons who never chanted the name of Hari in their lives also chanted the name of Hari as they ran to the Ganga for bath. The sound vibration of Hari's name filled 10 directions. The Lord, who is the best of the Brahmanas, appeared with a smile on his face. Seeing their son's face, Shachi and Jagannath were filled with ecstasy. They were so overwhelmed, they did not know what to do. The ladies there became excited and simply exclaimed, "Jai, Jai!" Everybody's just mad. They've lost all sense in their ecstasy. All the relatives came rushing to the house of Jagannath Mishra, and the whole household became filled with bliss. The father of Shachi Devi, the great Brahmana Lilambar Chakravarti, noted wonderful planetary arrangements in each house of the child's horoscope. That horoscope is given by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada in his commentary. In each house, there were signs that indicated a king. Moreover, Chakravarti was astonished by the child's beauty and said, "There is a prediction that in the future a Brahmana will become the king of Bengal. The future will show whether this child is that personality." Then the great astrologer Brahmana began to speak before everyone present about the symptoms of the various houses in the child's horoscope. The qualities I see in this child's horoscope are beyond those of a king. In fact, they are beyond all description. This child will be more learned than Brihaspati. He will soon manifest a reservoir of good qualities. In that assembly was one great Brahmana devotee who began to describe the Lord's future activities. He said, "This child is non-different from Narayan. He will reestablish religious principles. He will preach wonderfully and thus deliver the entire world. People will receive from him that which is always desired by even Brahma, Shiva, and Shukadev." Even by Shukadev, that's very important, because Srila Gurudev has explained that even Shukadev Goswami could not taste this Shriyam, this mood of the Manjaris in service to Radhika. He is Radhika's parent, but the confidential and secret emotions, experiences, and service of the followers of Rupa Manjari was unknown even to him. He could recite things and taste them in ways that even Vedavyas could not taste, but not fully. And that's being said here. So anyway, they go on to say that everybody's going to become a devotee ultimately because of him. Many, many, many verses. And then he says, "Oh, Jagannath Mishra, you are indeed glorious and fortunate because this child is your son." As Chaitanya Maharaj was talking about the speciality of that kind of love, unimpeded by a sense that this is God, right? My son. And Jagannath Mishra, very firm father. I will beat him. What is he doing? All this nonsense. Anyway, these pastimes will go on and on. This is just a taste. What can we do? But depending what time it is, wherever you are, you have all day, you have a few hours, we have all year, we have year after year to immerse ourselves in this. So today we're so fortunate, take advantage of this day. All glories to Sri Gaurachandra, all glories to Nityananda Prabhu, all glories to Advaita Prabhu, all glories to Sri Gadadhar, all glories to Srivas, all glories to all the associates of Mahaprabhu, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev, our exalted Guru Varga, all the assembled devotees. Srila Prabhupada would say, all glories to the assembled devotees. Right? So there we are. A little long, but great day. So I'll stop here. And they requested that we chant Hare Krishna because we don't have our regular kirtan. So I'm going to chant Hare Krishna, just a few verses because we always end class with that. So Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri. That's a tune Srila Prabhupada would chant early days, it's on the record. Beautiful. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Nitai Gora Haribo Haribo Nitai Gora Haribo Nitai Gora Haribo Haribo Nitai Gora Haribo Nitai Gora Haribo Haribo Nitai Gora Haribo Nitai Gora Haribo Haribo, Nitai Gaura Haribo, Jai, Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shivas Adi Gaura Bhaktavinda ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande, Haribo, Haribo. So there we are. Continue on the rest of your day, the rest of your life. This beautiful gift of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
I hope you have a wonderful celebration today, Maharaj, at the temple.
Right, it's 8:30 in the morning here, 8:45, so we got a whole day ahead of us. Okay.
Yes.
Now we're going to do our Guru Puja and get started. Thank all the devotees here. What do I see? Rasa Manjari Devi, Nilali, Ashok, Krishna, Balabhadra, Indirajit, Ratsapriya, Madhusmita, Amma, Krishna, Shamali, and Shamarup, Cheryl Travers, Janath Glass, Nimai Chaitanya, Ananda Pradayani, oh yeah, and Jai Shri, Sam Richardson, Vinod Manjari, Vrindavan Chandra, Nityananda, Taruni, Madhubala, on some phone, Gaura-pūrṇimā, Kalia, Raghunath, where do we go? Raghunath, that's about, nope, and Q6, whoever that is. Thank you all. Haribo, Haribo.
Thank you for that wonderful thank you. I want to conclude this program, this series on Sri Gaura-pūrṇimā, by first and foremost thanking our esteemed speakers, Srila Bhaktivedanta Tridandi Maharaj and Srila Bhaktivedanta Vaikanas Maharaj. I want to thank the main organizer, Yashadari Didi. I want to thank the Kirtanes / MCs, Nityananda and Taruni, and Nirhari and Baba Tarini. And I want to thank all of the listeners. Thank you for making it such a wonderful program series, a wonderful virtual Parikramā. Vancha kalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhu bhaiva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo